Sagarian presently ranked number 5 on the Wilson OTA computer rankings. And a nice forehand winner down the left-hand side for Shane Coulter.
In talking to both players before the match, Sevag told me that he was going to rely on his steadiness in his baseline game, whereas Shane was going to attack a lot. However, in the first couple of points, it seems to be the opposite that's occurring.
Big serve by Sagarian. Coulter unable to return it, and we move to 30-15. As we say, a nice, bright, sunny day here at Tam Heather. We weren't expecting this kind of conditions. And again, the service return goes long for Coulter.
Yeah, that's the second forehand in a row that he's missed on return of serve from that side. I think it might be just, you know, nerves at the beginning of a match.
Trying to get set into his routine for the afternoon.
There's the second foot fault, Keith. Uh, 80-85 degrees on the court.
Sagarian up and on the court, ready to go. Shane Coulter taking his full 90 seconds.
Keith, fitness is going to be a major part in this match. Sevag says that when I interviewed him, he told me that he hadn't trained except for the last 2 weeks before this tournament, so that I think will be an important factor to watch.
15-40 is the score. Coulter trying to stay alive here in the second game of the first set. That ball hit deep on the line on the far side, and Sagarian takes the second game.
It's a break at the very beginning of the match. He's up 2-0 now.
Let's take a look at that last play, Jim, that last rally.
Sevag just nailed a deep, deep forehand, and Shane caught it late. Making too many errors. It's a great serve.
Nice wide serve by Sagarian.
I just thought I'd mention, Keith, that both these... Okay.
Another look at the serve just before we move on
there. It
there.
was a great wide serve. He sliced it right out his forehand.
Right onto the Wilson sign there at the in the corner. You're going to say, sorry.
I was going to mention that both these players are 19 years old and are attending university this September, and both have played for approximately 10 years.
Nice forehand winner there.
Good inside-out forehand into Shane's backhand.
And so Sevag, Sagarian on cruise control here in this first set. As you say, he's looking to try and take advantage of Shane Coulter's errors, and they've been around for him to do just exactly that here in the first set.
Yes, Keith. Shane hasn't done anything. He hasn't hit any winners and hasn't put any pressure on Sevag at all. Because Sevag is just too strong from the baseline.
Again, Coulter taking his full 90 seconds to try and compose himself here. So Sevag will be receiving serve from him as we get back to the action here in the fourth game. Obviously, Coulter will be looking for some way of working that serve to his advantage. Often we talk of the pivotal 6th or 7th game in a match, but when you're down by 3-0, the fourth game is the pivotal.
Well, he's got to get a game. He has to win this game. If he doesn't win this game, this set is pretty well history.
So Sagarian will now serve in the first set with a 3-1 lead.
I think you mentioned at the opening that Sevag had the Andre Agassi look. I think there's more involved there than meets the eye. Sevag was born in Lebanon. He's Lebanese, similar to the same actually as Agassi. And he moved to Canada 7 years ago. There's a great shot.
Great shot by Segarian into the far court as he lobs it in an offensive way over top of Coulter for the first point of this 5th game. We'll maybe get another chance to take a look at it right here. Perhaps one of the best rallies we've seen so far in this match.
Well, he played an all-court game. He hit a beautiful drop shot here. Pulled Shane into the net and then hit a great lob over his head.
Now back to the live action. And Segarian picked up that point as well. We moved to 30 love here in this game. So both players still trying to feel each other out, it looks like. Although Segarian has that 2-game lead to play with.
Although it is getting a little cloudy, it makes it nice and cool down here for us, Keith, when the clouds cover that sun, and I'm sure the players really appreciate it also.
Segarian having a chance and some time to talk with our camera people at the far end there. No one else seems to be answering to him, so talking to himself, talking to the camera people. Some of the fine volunteers here, supplied by Scarborough Cable today. Do a fine job as always. And now Shane Coulter to serve from the far court. He's down 1-4 in this first set. And a big forehand winner there. And Segarian finds that serve and pops it home. Get a good chance to look at the forehand of Sevag Segarian right here.
Yeah, he hammered that shot, but if you'll notice, Shane really didn't get into the net after the serve. He was caught way behind.
After that first game, maybe we'll get an idea of what his mental attitude's going to be in this second set.
Well, I don't
too happy with himself.
I don't think he did it deliberately. It just kind of flew out of his hand.
You see him chasing it almost there for a second, but then letting it go. No violation on the play, by the way.
This is a very, very big game in this match. If Shane can win this game, he can establish a dominance in this second set. That's a great shot.
Forehand winner deep into the baseline area on the far court. 15 love. There you see Sevag Segarian, number 5 on the Wilson OTA ranking.
Sevag was in a very serious car accident a couple of years ago. Hurt the lower back and didn't play for almost 10 months. So he's really on a comeback trail right now.
Very close to another foot fault. We got the net call.
But the serve was wide.
Second serve coming up. And that ball just going long. We move to 30-15. Segarian trying to get back and maintain his serve here in the second set. First game he served in the second set. And a nice play as he moves into the net there to move to 45. 40-15.
Sevag has been successful both serving and volleying from the baseline. He's had no trouble, and I think that this is why he was able to dominate so easily in the first set.
Big serve is just wide. As you detailed earlier on, unforced errors, perhaps the biggest tail of the tape there, Jim.
Yes, unforced errors, Keith, and winners. You know, you just can't be hitting only one winner and having 10 unforced errors. You know, the stats are too huge there, and I think that that's the difference in the match, right?
It wouldn't be quite it perhaps wouldn't be quite as big a surprise if you saw a lot of unforced errors, if there were a lot of winners.
Right.
That way someone would be going after the points.
Well, you see, Sevag has a large number of winners, but very few unforced errors. A lot of double faults.
Segarian clearing the ball out of the service court. Tough to return it when it bounces off that ball.
It's impossible.
And a big forehand winner off the far baseline.
It's a great return of serve. He's really hitting his forehand now.
So we move to 15-40.
He just looked over at us, Keith, and said it's an Agassi forehand. maybe when you're born in Lebanon, you're born with big forehands. His game is modeled after Agassi's. He plays a lot of the same shots, the same mannerisms on the court.
And that ball just long. So Sevag Segarian takes a 4-3 lead in this second set.
If I'm not mistaken, Keith, I don't think anybody's held serve this set. Into the court. It'd make all the difference in the world. He'd be able to serve and volley a lot easier.
Sevag looking over the crowd as he does his Andre Agassi racket spin. Both these players trying to get a handle on their serve. That cord goes long on the serve. And a nice forehand that Coulter is unable to return. Let's take a look. Here is Shane Coulter's footwork on the serve.
You'll notice that see how he's stepping backwards? That right foot should be going into the court instead of moving backwards. I think it's a huge factor in his serve.
Back at live action here. Coulter up at the net very aggressively, but Segarian with a nice point.
Both players in this match are having a lot of trouble putting their volleys away. They're getting into the net, but they're giving the person that's at the baseline 2 and 3 opportunities to pass them in.
And isn't that basically where the advantage lies in the serve, Jim, of being able to get into the net first? Or
of course, this is what Shane told me his strategy was going to be, to serve and volley. But
so when that's not happening, the advantage of the serve really isn't there. So it's not surprising we've perhaps seen so many breaks throughout this match.
He told me he's basically, and actually both players said, Shane said that Sevag was basically a baseliner, and so did Sevag, and that is why I think he was winning so easily. I just think that he lost concentration in that second set, and that's what happened to the. It's making for an interesting match. I mean, it's a close match. It'll be interesting to see if Sevag holds his serve.
So Segarian leads 1-0 here in this third set. Shane Coulter taking full advantage of the changeover time. A very warm afternoon here at the Tam Heather Country Club in Scarborough, Ontario.
I think Sevag can hear us talking. He looked over to me and he said, I know what you guys are saying. You're saying you hope I can hold my service. So it shows me that he's quite aware of how he's been serving, yes. See, if you take a look at Sevag's footwork on his service, you'll see that his motion and his footwork are very conducive to serving and volleying. He's doing what I consider the correct footwork on the serve. as compared to Shane's.
We'll maybe get a chance to take a look at that in a little while, but for right now,
he's serving so much better right now.
He can be content with the 30-love lead here.
Yep.
Both players playing it very deep in each other's court. Colt to run up against the fence there, unable to return that ball.
Well, Sevag hit a great topspin lob. Actually, if he was a little bit more clever, he probably would follow that shot into the net, because it's a very hard shot to pass on, and the only thing your opponent can do is hit up another lob, and you can hit an overhead.
Both players joking about the distance of the ball, and there is game number 2 for Segarian. And
Segarian just looked over at us,
said,
me in particular, and he said, pointed at me and he said, "Take that." So
let's, just to be even here, let's take a look at Sevag Segarian's footwork.
You'll notice that his right foot will come right through and into the court. That's a big difference. You see how that is so conducive to serving and volleying, and it puts all your weight behind. And I think that with their serves, that's the main difference. But he did do the right thing that time. He hit a, here we go again, another underhand serve.
Getting a chance to see a little bit of everything here. But one thing that the underhand serve does do is, if you've got spin and you know how to use it properly, I don't know if we get a chance to take a look at it again, that ball really jumps when it comes across that net on the wrist underhand serve.
Yes, it does, Keith. The only thing is, if you're playing somebody who knows how to deal with it, here we go again. That underhand serve was probably the best one he's hit yet.
Great volley at the net, too.
Sevag has played 3 great points.
To get back to deuce here in game number 4 of the 3rd set.
As I was saying about the underhand serve, once your opponent knows it's coming, if they know the right strategy, which I believe is to just chip the ball and go into the net, the advantage of serving is all taken away.
Throughout this match, but he needs something right here.
Another unforced error there.
Segarian going from the top spin to the underspin chop. And we're at 15-all here in game 5 in the 3rd set. Segarian in complete control here, as he was in the 1st set. He had a bit of a lapse there in the 2nd, but I think he's sort of saying to himself, this is his if he wants it. Segarian speaking to our cameras, the consummate performer. Love 15. He really is an Andre Agassi type character out there, isn't he?
Oh, sure. They look the same. They're from the same place, same heritage. Except I believe that Segarian is Armenian, but he spent a number of years in the streets of Lebanon, so they're fighters. I think what happens to him is he gets up in this match. Every time he seems to get up, he actually believes he's Andre Agassi, and he starts rifling balls around and making too many errors. I think if he just plays his nice steady game with lots of loop and topspin, we'll be able to have lunch.
So once again, we're into a break point situation. Advantage Coulter. And a nice put away there
beautiful.
by Segarian. Point for the first time this afternoon. Sevag Sagarian having an opportunity here.
Match point. Should attack.
To serve for the hardware. Welcome back to the underhand serve.
I can't believe he just did that. He just doesn't want to. He just wants to be on TV for the rest of the day.
In one of this match. Add out. And a big forehand.
Outside match
beats
point.
Coulter. And Sevag Sagarian. Around here, just maybe ask you a quick question. You certainly came back there in that second set. What was the difference between the second set and the third set, do you think, today?
Well, I had a lot more energy in the second set, and I really worked hard to get that one, and had no energy in the third set. He was too fit for me.
So basically an attrition type of situation?
Yeah, he's much too fit.
Went one way in the first set, back the other way in the second, and then in the third set you sort of had your way again. But serving, not the big order of the day.
I know. I guess first set went all right for me. In the second set, I got a lot of foot fault calls, which really threw me off. I had no first serve. And basically, I guess I had a mental lapse in the second set. The third set, I just got everything back, tried to play consistent, and went all right.
So third set, hopefully, will be with the memories that you have of this match rather than the second set.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he's a great player. I mean, he has a good attitude. I mean, this is the second time I played him, and they both went 3 sets, so I don't know.
All right.
He's a good player. Thank you.
Congratulations on a fine final in the men's B division. Champion